want to take a moment to talk about anxiety. It's one of those things that if you're kind of predisposed to have anxiety, when you roll into this situation, it's going to just flare it up. It's going to make it significantly worse because this is an anxious, stressful time anyways. There's a lot of unknowns, and if you're already kind of geared in that mode, it's going to make it a lot harder. And I can talk about that from my own personal experience because I've struggled with anxiety most of my life. It's been really not exactly the most fun thing. If anybody who has it, it's not a good thing to go through. Well, when you're struggling with that, it's really hard to keep things in perspective because you're going through all these what ifs. What if this? What if that? What if the courts say, give the custody to the ex? What if they take all my money? What if this? You just this laundry list of things just keep dumping down on you, and it can be completely overwhelming. Now, the funny thing, kind of ironic, my entire life I've been anxious about everything. Anxious about work, anxious about not assignments, but projects at work. Deadlines. Am I doing a good job? Is it going to work out? Is this bad thing going to happen, or is that bad thing going to happen? And when I look back in the past, it's like I was creating my own drama. And I think in retrospect, I've talked often about how a narcissist gets comfortable, or anybody can get comfortable in chaos. They want the chaos. They feel that's kind of like that warm blanket that they can wrap themselves with. And I think I fell into that trap growing up. Growing up in a toxic environment at home, and then replicating that in my marriage, I just couldn't get away with it. And then you find that everything, something always is going wrong, and you're always looking for the worst case scenario. Now, to be honest, it's really surprising that I was able to do as well as I was able to do in work and in my profession because of that. Maybe it made me more focused on what was going on and working harder and producing better, but it wasn't a lot of fun. Well, if that's your base personality type, and then you roll into something as seriously catastrophic as a toxic divorce, then you're in for one hell of a ride. And if you're struggling with that, and it's easier for somebody, kind of easier. It's easier if you've dealt with it your entire life, because what I'm going to say is going to make more sense. If you dealt with that your entire life, and you look back at the course of your life, here's what I can do with me. I can look back at my life, and I can see that 90% of the time, maybe 85% of the time, all those bad things that I thought were going to happen never happened. Everything seemed to work out. And typically, it's like whatever I was worried about, a week ago is completely gone, oblivious, don't need to worry about it, and that's like I'm worrying about something else. So one of the things that helped me when I was going through this is like, okay, I've kind of been through these chaotic moments in the past, and everything generally worked out. So I was able to kind of have some faith that, all right, well, let's just see how this plays out. Now, to be perfectly honest, during the middle of the divorce, when the court battle was going on and the custody evaluation, I was freaked out. And I've talked about that, and I've talked about how if I would have been able to calm myself down, that I would have been better for me and it would have been better for my kids. But I wanted to revisit this because just to go into a little bit more detail on that, on what I mean by that. And really it's a perspective change. It's looking at your situation, being able to take that step back and have an objective view on what really is going on and what really is potentially going to happen. Now, those worst case scenarios that you do have bouncing around through your head, yeah, they're legitimate and they potentially could happen. Are they really going to happen? Probably not. As long as you don't make mistakes, and this is where the anxiety can really cause you problems, because it's really hard whenever you're having that anxious mode and you're really feeling frustrated to be able to react or respond rationally to things as opposed to emotionally. And the issue with that is that if your ex is able to use those fear tactics and get you all ramped up that things are going to happen, and you're just like, you're just on heightened alert, and they're able to just to go boop, push a little button, you're more at risk of reacting negatively, of reacting in a way that they can then use that against you. So if you're struggling with this, if you're struggling with these anxiety problems, you really need to find a way to calm yourself down. And you can, I mean, you may be saying, well, wait a minute, Dwayne, I mean, you know, everything's crap. I don't have any money. You know, my credit cards are maxed out. I'm struggling to just stay afloat. And I get that. I mean, I get it because I was there too. I've had those same feelings. I didn't think I was going to make it through it. It felt like it was going to just be a complete nightmare forever. Now, some of those same anxieties and some of those same concerns that I had in the past, they're still there. I mean, it's not like they've gone away. It's not like I've, you know, won the lottery and I have a pile of money I'm sitting on and I don't have any financial worries and I don't have any medical worries and I don't have, you know, anything, you know, bothering me. There's a lot of things that are going on and there are a lot of things to be stressed about. A lot of them I talk about on this channel. I use them as examples to hopefully help you guys. So if you're struggling with this, try to keep everything in perspective. Try to take a breath, look at what your situation is right now in this moment, and try to find the things that can calm you down. You know, a prime example of an environmental type thing, I mean, I used to listen to, early in the stages of this, I would listen to depressing music or angry music that would just be like, ah, and I don't do that anymore. I mean, what I'm doing now, you know, go on YouTube and do a search for ambient, you know, background music or angelic music or whatever, and it's more like meditation type, just calm, like spa type music. And I'll listen to that. Like when I can actually find time to answer comments, I'll put that in the background and it just kind of sets the tone. You know, and that's what you need to do. Find those little things in your environment that you can control that give you some peace, that make your environment as peaceful and calm as possible, and stay in that moment and do whatever you need to do, like work on YouTube comments, as the example I was just talking about, and use it to try to bring your anxiety levels down. And this is coming from somebody who has struggled with this my entire life, from when I was a kid, high school, when I joined the service, when I got out. I mean, everything was constantly one of those just stressful, like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Oh my God, what's going to happen next? Oh my God, what's going to happen next, right? And that's kind of like the way I felt, just that tensed up like fear. Now, I've told you in a lot of other videos that, you know, I'm actually excited about the future now. You know, it's like, instead of being like, oh my God, what's happened next? It's like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? You know? And I'm not even, you know, I'm not even looking at what the ex might do. It's like, what's going to happen next in my life? You know, what new thing is going to happen? What new experience am I going to have? What new person am I going to meet? You know, this channel has played a big part of that. But even prior to doing this, I was able to see, you know, new people I would meet. I mean, there are people that I've met in the last few years that I would have never imagined to meet and that have enriched my life and given me experiences and friendship that I never thought was possible. And I could easily revert back into thinking negative, thinking about everything I've lost, thinking about, you know, how mad I am about what's happening with the kids, about what's going on with the medical billing that she's still not paying for, you know, all that stuff. And it's like, I don't want to be in that mode anymore. I don't want to live that life anymore. And you know, I think sometimes whenever I'm talking, it might be like, oh, well, this is somebody who basically fundamentally had, you know, this more positive view on things, which I think I am a relatively positive person, but I had all this anxiety and stuff just dripping from me for years. I mean, probably it's been in the last 10 years that I've really started to shift. And I've talked about in past videos how that shift is also what kind of destroyed my marriage, because as I got calmer, I couldn't be controlled by fear and anxiety anymore. And when things happen, I'm like, okay, you know, well, it'll work out, which lowered and kept lowering the ability of the ex to control me, which then just obviously, because she wasn't able to control me and control my emotions, created a whole nother set of problems. Anyways, So, and I'm not trying to make light of this. If you're struggling with this, you have to calm yourself down. You have to really take a new look and look at your things in a new perspective. So on this, I'm going to wrap this video up because I'm starting to lose the feeling in my fingers and the planes are starting to take off again. And I will chat with you on the next video. Take care. Bye.